So, it's Wednesday. Not really looking forward to today. I guess the reason why is because it's raining. It's kind of ugly outside. This week has just been all kinds of off. I think it's because all of my normal routines are thrown off. And routines for me keep me in line, to keep me in check. Keep me in check on a lot of levels. Like, I had a friend recently post on Facebook. She's got 3 kids, I believe. And she kind of posted this thing, she's trying to figure out how to do summer, because she's trying to do summer where she has time with her kids, but she also works, and they have decent early bedtimes because it takes them forever to go to sleep, those kind of things. And she kind of was like, what do I do to get into better habits so I can spend more time with them, but not completely interfere in the schedules that are in place? And my best advice that I can give to someone in that situation is make a schedule. Now, it sounds kind of ridiculous to schedule your kids, because it makes it almost sound like you're too busy for your children. That's not really the case. I try to schedule time with them. Since I have 5, I break it down into 1 day per week that particular child gets almost one-on-one attention time with me. And the reason why I do that is so I'm intentional about it. The routines for me are more about intentionality than they are about anything else. I always want to make sure that I'm giving full attention all the time, but I want to make sure that I'm giving intentional time part of the time. It's kind of like training, right? So when you're working out, you have your arms, chest, and triceps day. And then you have your abs and back, and then you have legs and quads and so on and so forth, right? That's kind of the way I try to run my life. I try to run my life to where my days are scheduled, so I'm intentional on what I'm doing. I do that with my kids. I do that with my schedule with my fiance. I do that with everything. I try to give designated time so that I know, even on my failing weeks, and we all have them, right? We all have failing days, failing weeks. Some of us have failing months, and I've been there too. But even if you're failing, even if you are not making the strides that you would normally make or would like to make, then at least if you're scheduling intentional time, you can be there still. And even if you're failing, you still put off the I'm achieving something, right? And that's the advice I gave her. I was like, you sit down, you make a schedule out, and you rotate days so the kids don't catch on, so they don't think that they're being scheduled in, but you make intentional time to where there's no mistaking that you are at least, even in your failing moments, giving enough or something, right? And I apply that rule to everything in life. Like, I apply that rule to training, to my kids, to my relationship. I apply that rule to house cleaning, to everything. If you want to achieve things, even knowing that there's an opportunity or a possibility of failure, schedule it. And then stick to your schedule. Be very, very, very stingy when it comes to your schedule. Because your schedule is what makes you. Your schedule is what takes you to that next place and ensures that while there might be slips and there might be instances that you don't come through, that at least in that schedule you will. Now, I'm not saying don't be flexible, because you can be flexible. I can tell you right now, there are times where, like, I'll have individual times set up for a kid, for one of my kids, and it won't pan. But if it doesn't pan, I do my best to make moments where I try to accommodate that, right? Like, for instance, if I say in my schedule for that week that Thursday is going to be the day that I give individual attention to Cordelia, then, you know, I have to work over on Thursday, and I don't quite get there, or I don't quite fulfill that time, then I will intentionally be like, okay, well, I didn't make that happen, so I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to read a story, and I'm going to sit next to Cordelia. I'm going to interact with all of the kids, I'm going to sit next to Cordelia to give her more of the attention in the situation to kind of make up the ground that I missed out on. Like, you gotta be flexible, because life doesn't work out. Like, life is never perfect. And I said this, I think, in a couple videos past. You know, you can schedule things to the best of your ability, but sometimes things just don't work. And when they don't work, you have to improvise. When they don't work, you have to come up with sometimes a plan B, sometimes a plan C, sometimes a D, an E, an F, whatever that has to look like. Sometimes you just have to go down the alphabet and come up with a plan that will make it work. Because the thing I've noticed the most when it comes to kids, and I know I'm speaking from the experiences of younger children, because, you know, my oldest is 10. But what I've noticed the most is intentionality matters the most. You know, they don't expect you to be perfect. They don't expect you to be to be able to give them undivided attention always. But they expect moments. The intentionality. They expect moments of intentionality where they see that they matter to you, and they matter to you on a deep level. And I feel like that's the way all relationships around around this life work. I believe it's all about intentionality. I mean, Valentine's Day, very, very intentional day. It's a day to intentionally, strategically put you in a position to where you get to honor your significant other, that you get to show your love and appreciation for the things that he or she does. Even though you should be doing that every day, even though you should not need a specific day to classify and show the love that you have, it's an intentional day that gives you an intentional set time to show your love and appreciation. Birthdays, holidays, Christmas, well, not Christmas, because, you know, Christmas is more about the birth of Jesus, but, like, Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving because of the Pilgrims and those things. Like, that's the original story. That's what started it. We celebrate Thanksgiving because it gives us an intentional holiday for us to be able to sit down around a table with our families and share a meal. And some families, man, they don't get that anymore. Like, some families, they don't see each other for half a year or more until that day comes. So when they get to sit down to eat that meal, the intentionality behind having that holiday, for most jobs to not have anyone working, for the ability to take off and go visit family, that's that intentionality. Basically, boiled down to the simplest principle, intentionality means everything. Because without intentionality, you can do that fake it till you make it thing, right? You can act like you care, but it doesn't actually prove you care. Intentionality, that proves you care. Intentionally working out. Intentionally having good in-depth conversation with your spouse. Intentionally spending time with your kids. Intentionally being to work on time. Intentionally, whatever the fill in the blank is. Those are the ways you show how you care. And those are the things that are looked at in the overalls. Like, people are not going to remember you for the times you attempted. People are going to remember the times you did. Kids are not going to remember in their childhood the times that, my dad said, but he couldn't because he worked over. Kids are going to remember that my dad or my mom took time out of their schedule, took time out of their busy day. They set aside specific time for me. That's what they're going to remember. Your spouse, the accumulation of being intentionally bringing home flowers, intentionally doing the dishes, intentionally, showing that love and affection that you tell them you have for them. That's what they're going to remember. It's not going to be I do remember that one time where he tried to get home on time from work, but it didn't pan out. Like, that's not good enough. You have to show intentionality. I think I'm beating a dead horse now, right? Oh, it's a gloomy day out here today, man. It's raining, it's nasty. I don't wanna, but I'm gonna, because I'm a beast. I'm gonna let you guys go, though. I'll see if there's anything else to record later on down the road. I will see you guys later. There we go. Hey guys. So, I got to do a really cool thing today that I don't normally get to do. I went live on Facebook. It's not a normal thing for me to go live on Facebook because I'm a YouTuber. But my wife, my future wife, I need to correct my language, posted a live of her own, basically talking about the rule of three. And I wanted to put out the message that, you got to watch what you put in, You got to watch the things that you take and you put into your body as far as principles and rules go, because the rule of three, while it's a really good thing to go by to start with, it's also a very simplistic trap. So I don't know, I might talk more about that tomorrow. We'll see.